During a war, some cities, points, or regions are more important than others, a great superiority over its opponents during both defense and attack. In the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, there are many such cities. One of these cities is Berdyansk, located on the shores of the Sea of Azov. This city is indispensably valuable for both countries. When we look at the developments in the recent days, we see that the Ukrainian army has brought forward its goal of reaching this city. The developments in and around Berdyansk confirm this. So what is happening in Berdyansk and why is the city important? Let's take a look at the latest developments and reports on the importance of the city. You can subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications not to miss detailed map analysis and daily reports on the Russia-Ukraine war. You can also support our team by clicking the Super Thanks button. The Pioneer reports. The counteroffensive launched by the Ukrainian army continues unabated on almost the entire front line. Many sources are reporting that the Ukrainian troops are gaining the upper hand at many points on the front line. However, the reports are not only about the front line. There are also remarkable developments in the attacks of the Ukrainian troops behind the front line. One of the important points behind the front line that the Ukrainian troops have been targeting in recent days and even for a long time is the port city of Berdyansk. So much so that in recent days, Berdyansk seems to have been given priority in the Ukrainian army's targets for the regions to be liberated. Ukrainian troops are regularly shelling the city on the western coast of the Sea of Azov with heavy artillery. Port in Berdyansk using a large number of Storm Shadow missiles. Although Russian sources claim that the Storm Shadow missiles fired by the Ukrainian army were destroyed by the air defense systems, local sources report that many missiles successfully hit their targets without being intercepted by air defense system. The developments following the missile attack also seem to refute the claims of the Russian sources. According to the information we received from the region, immediately after the missile attack, many Russian helicopters stationed at the airport left the airport. It is reported that the Russian helicopters that left the area never returned. In this case, it cannot be said that these helicopters took off for an operational activity. It is reported that the helicopters were transferred to another region due to the security concerns. After this attack, the activity in Berdyansk did not stop. The Ukrainian armed forces also issued statements and shared a report on the latest missile attacks on the Berdyansk. The report, Ukrainian artillery did not only hit around the airport. Simultaneously with the attacks around the airport, Ukrainian artillery also blew up a Russian ammunition depot and an important military facility in the region. Russia has not yet made a statement about the Russian casualties in the region. It is possible to say that a great chaos is currently dominating the city. Russian helicopters, ammunition depots, and supply lines in the city face almost dozens of missile attacks in just one day. The sounds of ambulance sirens and the explosions continue without a break, even in one day. The world community is interpreting the current situation in Berdyansk as Russia losing the war even behind the front lines. Allegedly, the Russian military is preparing to take new measures in Berdyansk. Recently, Ukrainian Defense Ministry spokesperson Hanna Maliar made statements and said that the Ukrainian troops were getting very close to Berdyansk. Both the developments on the front line and the attacks by the Ukrainian troops on Berdyansk behind the front line seems to have caused a great panic in the Russian occupation forces. According to the latest reports, the Russian army has started working to establish a mine line around the city. The Russian army thinks that this will stop the advance of the Ukrainian troops advancing on the front line. However, even the Ukrainian army's missile attacks are enough to inflict losses on the Russian army. Therefore, many experts do not expect this move by the Russian army to lead to any positive outcome for Russia. So why are both armies so insistent on the city of Berdyansk? The city of Berdyansk is located in the easternmost part of the Ukraine on the coast of the Sea of Azov. When the Russian army captured the region, it made the Azov Sea its internal sea. Thus, the Russian naval forces were quite remarkable with the Sea of Azov. The city of Berdyansk, which is also very close to the Russian mainland, is on one of the fastest routes to transport ammunition, food, and all kinds of materials needed by the Russian occupation forces on the front line. Through Berdyansk, the Russian army regularly reinforces its troops in many locations, especially in Crimea. One of the important factors enabling the Russian occupation forces to easily move these fortifications to the front line is the supply lines from Berdyansk to all parts of Ukraine. There are many railway lines and highway lines in the region. Thanks to these lines, the Russian army can easily meet the needs of its frontline troops. The Ukrainian army sees Berdyansk as an important threshold to cut off these reinforcements of the Russian troops on the front line. Therefore, every Ukrainian missile attack in the region means or ammunition depots of the Russian occupation forces. It also destroys supply lines, highways, and railway lines in the city, preventing any aid from reaching the Russian troops on the front line. The Ukrainian army is also regularly targeting the port of Berdyansk, the first stop of the Russian reinforcements on the Ukrainian territory, to prevent new reinforcements. In this way, the Ukrainian army is leaving not only the Russian troops on the front line, but also the occupation forces stationed in the city of Berdyansk in great difficulty. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army's pressure in the region has increased considerably. The Ukrainian army's superiority behind the front line, thanks to this missile attack, is largely reflected in the operational activities on the front line. Since the start of the counteroffensive, the Ukrainian army's biggest advance has been the direction of Berdyansk. When we evaluate the Ukrainian army's attacks on Berdyansk together with the attacks on Melitopol and Tokmak, we can say that the Russian army is facing a very difficult situation on the southern front line. What do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army will be able to advance to Berdyansk? Will the Ukrainian army's capture of Berdyansk affect the fate of the war? Can it be said that the attacks on Berdyansk, Mariupol, Melitopol, and Tokmak are the reason behind the inability of the Russian frontline troops to resist the Ukrainian counteroffensive? Do you think the Ukrainian army's goal of Berdyansk is realistic? What is the situation of the Russian army in the region? We care about your views. Please share them with us.